On a quiet Saturday morning in June 2013, an eerie alarm shattered the stillness of a Toys R Us store in Hamburg, New York. The manager, a beloved figure to his employees and community, lay slumped in his chair, bleeding profusely from a stab wound. Outside, oblivious employees continued their shifts, unaware that their leader had become a victim of betrayal and greed. But who could have done such a thing? And why? Hi everyone, you're listening to Thousand Fragments. The moment no one saw. The memory no one kept. I'm bringing it back. Drop a comment below and let me know where you are today. I'm all ears. And let's begin. In the small town of Hamburg, nestled just outside bustling Buffalo, New York, life moved at a predictable pace. The Toys R Us store was more than just a business. It was a cornerstone of the community, frequented by families and children alike. At its helm stood a man admired by all dedicated, kind-hearted and driven. He had risen through the ranks, overcoming personal struggles to lead with compassion. That Saturday, he arrived early as usual, ready to ensure the day ran smoothly. Little did he know, danger lurked within the very walls he trusted. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting golden light across empty streets, 4 employees trickled into work. Each entered separately, lost in their own thoughts, unaware of the tragedy unfolding mere feet away. One by one, they clocked in, grabbing carts and pallets, restocking shelves for the impending rush of customers. Yet none noticed anything amiss. Not the open door, not the lingering shadows, not the silence emanating from the manager's office. It wasn't until the alarm blared unexpectedly that panic set in. Detective Scott Cascino arrived on the scene, his mind racing with possibilities. A murder inside a toy store? In Hamburg? It defied logic. As he surveyed the chaos, a sobbing employee clutching her phone, others frozen in shock, he knew this case would test even his seasoned skills. The evidence painted a confusing picture. A severed security feed, a mysterious figure captured briefly on grainy footage, and traces left behind suggesting deliberate planning. But who among them could be responsible? The investigation unfolded slowly, each revelation deepening the mystery. Interviews revealed little, alibis checked out, emotions seemed genuine. Yet something nagged at Cascino, an inconsistency, a detail overlooked. Then came the breakthrough. A familiar face connected to the company, someone trusted implicitly, yet harboring secrets darker than anyone imagined. Bernie Groscher, the regional vice president tasked with safeguarding Toys R Us assets, emerged as the prime suspect. His double life unraveled piece by piece, a mountain of stolen merchandise stashed in his garage, eBay listings revealing illicit sales, financial woes spiraling out of control. Motivated by desperation born of debt and marital strife, Grusha had betrayed everything he claimed to protect. What began as a robbery attempt spiraled tragically when confronted by the unsuspecting manager, culminating in violence neither intended nor anticipated. But here lies the twist. Grusha assisted investigators himself, watching calmly as they pieced together his crime via surveillance footage. How could such calm mask such turmoil? Perhaps the weight of guilt finally crushed him, or maybe hubris blinded him to consequences. Either way, his confession sealed his fate, reducing charges but offering no solace to those left grieving. And that was another story lost in time. But stay with me, because there's still more waiting in the shadows. What drives a man to destroy what he once cherished? Could Bernie Grusha's fall have been prevented? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. On a crisp Halloween night in 1957, something so chilling unfolded that it would haunt the memories of an entire neighborhood. At exactly 11:15 p.m., a doorbell rang in Sun Valley, California, a sound that echoed through the quiet suburban streets, signaling the end of innocence for one family and the beginning of a mystery that would grip the nation. When Peter Fabiano opened his door to what appeared to be a late-night trick-or-treater, he had no idea it would be the last decision he'd ever make. Hi everyone, you're listening to Thousand Fragments. The moment no one saw, the memory no one kept. I'm bringing it back. Drop a comment below and let me know where you are today. I'm all ears, and let's begin. Peter Fabiano was a man who had clawed his way out of darkness, building a life filled with hope and prosperity. He owned a thriving beauty salon, shared a loving home with his wife Betty, and took pride in being a pillar of his community. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Peter returned from work, eager to hand out candy to the children dressed in whimsical costumes. Little did he know, this would be the last time he'd see the joy of Halloween. By 11 p.m., the house fell silent as the final trick-or-treaters departed. Tired but content, Peter and Betty retired to bed, ready to rest after a long day. But fate had other plans. Moments later, the doorbell rang again, a strange occurrence given the hour. Curious and perhaps amused by the thought of a tardy child, Peter rose from bed, grabbing a bucket of leftover candy. As he approached the door, the air seemed heavier, charged with an unseen tension. Outside, a figure stood shrouded in darkness, wearing strange makeup and gloves, calling out in a distorted voice, "Trick or treat!" Peter chuckled lightly, thinking perhaps some older kids were trying to stretch the fun into the late hours. But as he bent down to retrieve a piece of candy, the unthinkable occurred. A loud pop echoed through the air, followed by silence. Inside the house, chaos erupted. Betty rushed downstairs, only to find her husband lying motionless on the floor, blood pooling beneath him. Panicked, she called for help, summoning neighbors and eventually police officers who quickly descended upon the scene. Among them was Officer Bud Alper, awakened abruptly by frantic knocking at his own home nearby. Following young Judy Fabiano, who tearfully sought assistance, Alper arrived just moments after the shooting, witnessing the devastating aftermath firsthand. Detectives soon uncovered disturbing details about the mysterious assailant. Neighbors reported seeing an unfamiliar car parked suspiciously close to the Fabiano's residence earlier that evening, though none could recall specific markings or occupants. Inside the house, investigators found no fingerprints on the doorbell or any other evidence linking someone directly to the crime. It seemed almost as if whoever pulled the trigger had vanished without a trace. Days turned into weeks as Detective Pat Keeley delved deeper into Peter's past, searching tirelessly for answers. While reviewing old records, he discovered Peter's brief stint as a bookie nearly a decade prior, raising questions about potential ties to organized crime. Yet further inquiries revealed little substance. Peter appeared to have severed all connections with such circles long ago. Frustrated yet undeterred, Keeley shifted focus toward personal relationships within Peter's circle, particularly involving his wife Betty and former employee Joan Rabel. Joan emerged as both ally and adversary during interviews conducted by authorities. According to Betty, tensions arose between herself and Peter due to his disapproval of her friendship with Joan. This rift culminated in separation until Betty reconciled with Peter under strict conditions prohibiting contact with Joan. Meanwhile, Joan maintained innocence regarding animosity towards Peter, insisting they parted amicably when she left employment at the salon. Contradictory statements added layers of complexity to the investigation, leaving detectives uncertain whom to trust. Then came an anonymous tip pointing detectives toward Bullock's department store downtown, where a rented locker allegedly housed the murder weapon. With renewed hope, Keeley retrieved the described revolver, tracing its purchase back to September 21st via serial number checks. Surprisingly, the buyer matched the name registered for the locker rental, not a pseudonym, but genuine identification leading straight to Goldine Pazer, a lab assistant whose connection to Peter remained unclear initially. Goldine confessed fully upon arrest, revealing herself merely a pawn manipulated by none other than Joan Rabel. Consumed by jealousy after losing Betty, Joan orchestrated the entire scheme, exploiting Goldine's affectionate nature to execute her vengeful plan. On Halloween night, Joan positioned Goldine strategically near the Fabianos' home, guiding every step leading up to the fatal encounter. Afterward, Joan discarded Goldine like trash, ensuring distance before vanishing completely. In court, both women faced charges of first-degree murder, later reducing pleas to second-degree offenses following negotiations. Sentenced to 5 years to life imprisonment, Joan and Goldine paid dearly for actions driven by misplaced emotions. As for Betty Fabiano, she escaped legal repercussions altogether, deemed uninvolved, despite lingering suspicions among certain parties. And that was another story lost in time. But stay with me, because there's still more waiting in the shadows. What do you think really motivated Joan? Could Betty have played a larger role unnoticed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.